Good afternoon. I'm Cara Kenney, and I'm one of the literacy specialists here at the Smith School in Winniport. This little talk today is going to be about some strategies that you can help your children with when they are reading a new book at home. At school, we teach the children some independent reading strategies, things that they can try to solve a word when they're reading on their own. Now, if you're like me, when you were a kid, this was about the only strategy we ever used or were taught. Sound it out. And sounding it out can work on some words. So, sounding it out means making the sounds of the letters in order and blending them together to see if it makes a word. Now, in this example, dog makes dog. Unfortunately, many words do not really sound out that easily. So, when we are working with students, we work on other strategies. Some of the strategies have to do with meaning. For example, using the picture clues. We always want the students to be thinking about what would make sense when they're reading. One of the places that they can find out something that would make sense is by making sure they're thinking about the story and they can find information in the pictures. Another thing that we ask our students to do is to think about what would make sense. If they're reading a book about dogs, what might make sense in the sentence? Use their background knowledge to help them to figure out what the word might be. Another strategy that we use is rereading. Rereading is going back to the beginning of a sentence and just starting over again and sort of getting yourself going and seeing if that can help you to solve the word as you read. Another strategy that we use is reading on. So sometimes when a child gets stuck, we might say to them, go ahead and finish that sentence and see if the rest of the sentence helps you to figure out what that word was that you are trying to solve. We also talk about using context clues. That means what would make sense in the sentence and also what would sound right. So as you're reading along, what kind of a word would come next? Now we do also do things that are kind of like sounding out. We do a lot of things about with looking carefully into a word. So one of our early strategies for our beginning readers is say the first sound. So if they're stuck on a word, they might go back and reread a little bit, and then they might make the first sound of the word to see if that helps them to solve. Also, when children are sounding out, sometimes we ask them to try a different sound. For example, they might make the short sound of a vowel, but the word might actually have the long sound. So we teach children to be flexible and try more than one sound to see if that can help you to solve. As children begin to read more difficult words, another strategy that we have them do is look for a little word or a base word in a larger word. So, for example, in these examples here, you're going to look for a little word trip in the longer word tripped. Or you might see that the word warm has a suffix er at the end. If you put those together, you would get warmer. Another name for this kind of strategy is called chunking it. Sometimes we say chunky monkey. So that means taking a word and just looking to see if there's a part in there that you might recognize, and if you can use that part to help you solve the whole thing. Thank you so much for taking your time out of your day today to watch this video. Maybe you can try some of these strategies with your children at home when they get stuck on a word. Thank you.